And number one, whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? Better late than never, right, Jake?
Hey, got responsibilities in life.
We got stuff to do. Yes, we're a little later today, but we are all set to go live on YouTube. And if you're on the audio podcast, you don't care that we're late because it's the same time every day, isn't it? We have got a lot to talk about today. Jake is all fired up about people that have kids and make more money than he does. Cancun Ted Cruz is back. And I wanna point this out because we are often accused of being people who hate Republicans.
Right.
Turn the music off. Turn the music off. This next sentence, I agree with Cancun Ted Cruz. I haven't taken my meds either today. Yeah, I said it. We'll talk about that. It's actually kind of funny. What's up? Josh Blaylock Dixon says, first in, go Jazz. Josh, good to be here with you. Why don't we start with Big 12 expansion, though, because I had an interesting conversation with a BYU guy yesterday who reached out to me. He actually reached out to Pardon Moi. And we were talking about, how the process at BYU was working with Big 12 expansion. And BYU is hearing everybody saying, well, why aren't hey,
they haven't made an announcement. Are they not in?
They are in. And I am told yesterday by sources deep inside of the Provo Canyon. Now I'm being an idiot.
Wow.
Sources in Provo tell me yesterday that BYU is 100% behind Tom Homo, the hierarchy, the leadership at BYU fully supports Tom Homo's direction in joining the Big 12, and BYU is simply taking the Big 12's lead on making announcements. So there was all these flying rumors yesterday that there was going to be an announcement. Well, there wasn't an announcement yesterday, and I think the thing that really stands out to you is that BYU is taking the Big 12's lead here. And Jake, I think this is playing out. If you're a BYU fan, this is playing out exactly as you want it to.
Yeah, I think it's perfect execution. I think that BYU is they're controlling what they can control, and they're letting the Big 12 do their job. And I think that for BYU, you've kind of had this you've been waiting for this opportunity for many years now, and it kind of seems like you're prepared for the process. It kind of feels like BYU isn't in a hurry. BYU it doesn't, they're not in a hurry, but they are also not going super slow. They're just going at a good pace. They're letting things unfold as they will. And they're really happy with where they are. And I think that's when I heard you say that, like, to me, that's really good news, because that says to me that BYU has their ducks in a row, if you will. They're not frazzled by the situation. They're not all over the place. They're organized. Everything's good. So if you're a BYU fan, looking at this situation, I would think that you would feel really good about where BYU is at. And frankly, I think Tom Homo has done a hell of a job scheduling over the years, and he's earned his stripes with the way he's led this program. And I think that, we look all across college football, whether we're talking about the Pac-12 or whether we're talking about coaching issues in the SEC right now, or whether we're talking about, Clemson, being down this year. Like, you look at all these different situations across college football, and you can pretty much tie a lot of those issues to the leadership overall, not just the head coach, but the athletic director and the decisions that are made and all those things. And I think BYU has done really well with making good decisions consistently over a long period of time. And that's put them in a position to do this and do it comfortably. And to me, that's the biggest win here. You should feel good about it if you're a BYU fan.
Yeah, and I think your best point there, in my opinion, is anytime you have Tom Homo at the helm, you can feel confident. You can feel comfortable that what is best for the university is being done. And I think that's one of the check boxes that the leadership at BYU knows that is not in question. I mean, when Tom is operating for BYU, it's truly operating in the best interest of BYU and its students and its athletes. And I think that's Tom's job. And it's a luxury that I don't think we talk about enough. And I think here in Utah, whether it's, Weber, whether it is USU, Utah, obviously, I think the Utes in that entire athletic department is elite. I also think that when you look at BYU, you have no doubt that these men leading these athletic departments are doing their best to make sure that student athletes at these schools are taken care of. And I don't think there's any question that, in my mind at least, that Tom Holmoe's the best athletic director in the state of Utah and arguably one of the best in the country. Based on the way that he's handled independence and the changes and the rigors and the pressures that come with building a schedule as the caliber that BYU has had over the last several years. And yeah, that took some years to ramp up. But I think anytime you make a major change in your identity, whether that's independence, joining the Pac-12, joining the Big 12, there is a ramp-up period, and there will be for BYU getting into the Big 12. But I think when you look at where BYU is now, everything's fine. I asked specifically, hey, when do you think there's going to be an announcement? And there is currently, from what I'm told, no firm timeline to make some significant announcement about BYU's addition to the Big 12. There are a lot of moving parts here. There's 3 other universities that don't include BYU. So there's 4 total. There's an entire conference. These things need to be coordinated. Are there going to be media leaks? Of course, but I think there's always media leaks. So, none of this should be surprising to where BYU is and where the Big 12 is. I think one of the more fascinating conversations is, what does this do to the Big 12? And I'm specifically talking about UCF because we heard from a lot of UCF fans yesterday because I do not believe, and again, this is just my opinion, I do not believe that UCF is some groundbreaking win for the Big 12. Am I wrong about that?
I don't think you're wrong about it, but I also don't think it's fair to marginalize them either. I think that they do bring value. I mean, you look at, first of all, you look at what they're able to do in basketball, and they've been coming for a minute in basketball. I mean, they've been building for sure. But I think when you go to the football field and you look at this whole situation with their head coach Gus Malzahn, and you say, okay,
don't you mean LSU's head coach Gus Malzahn?
Well, yeah, he's probably going to be. That's probably going to happen.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm a jerk.
It's fine. Go ahead.
I should. But it's a legitimate question. How long is Gus Malzahn? Are you telling me that Gus was like, yeah, I got whacked over the winter by Auburn. I'm just going to go to UCF and ride out into the sunset.
Yeah, no.
Is there anybody that believes that? Like, how long do you think Gus Malzahn's at?
1 season. 2 seasons, maybe.
Really?
Tops. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there 5 years.
So he's taking the Lane Kiffin route to Ole Miss.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that all this noise around good old Edo over there at LSU is a little unwarranted in my opinion. The guy won a national championship 5 minutes ago, and we're already talking about firing him because he lost at the Rose Bowl, which I do agree is unacceptable. But at the same time, I think that you got to give the guy a little more leash. But I just think that at the end of the day, for the Big 12. UCF, they're like they have twice the student body that BYU has. The problem is that BYU is a national juggernaut from a media perspective. So BYU, value-wise, to me, has more value to the Big 12. Now, for UCF to the Big 12, I think it's fine. Like I guess I just struggle to put a label on them because they're another program. They're not like, oh my God, we got UCF, but they're also not like, hey, they're a Pop Warner football team from some random conference. I mean, they're a legitimate program, So if you're a UCF fan, yeah, you should be happy you're getting to the Big 12, absolutely. But at the same time, if you're the Big 12, you're like, all right, that's just one of the teams we needed to kind of round this thing out a little bit, So, yeah, and then the head coach situation, if Gus decides to leave for LSU, yeah, that's obviously going to change the program. But at the end of the day, the Big 12 isn't concerned about Gus. The Big 12 is concerned about survival. And they need UCF to be in this thing to have their conference continue.
Well, look, and I think UCF brings a huge enrollment. I get that. They bring the Orlando market. I get that. But what is the brand power of UCF football? If I look at Cincinnati, hey, Cincinnati's a terrific brand in basketball, and frankly, they're on the rise in football. Okay, cool, I get that. I look at Houston, not even a question. Houston athletics, With the footprint, getting the Big 12 into Houston, getting them into Southern Texas, allowing them to really have reach in every corner of the state, from Dallas to, Lubbock, Waco, Houston. Like, the Big 12 has the state of Texas.
Yeah.
I get that. BYU, totally get that. National audience, millions of TV viewers, huge relationships across all media. There's not a network that doesn't want to put BYU football on their channel. You totally understand that. So now tell me what the calling card for UCF is. Again, with all due respect, I'm not saying it's a bad university. I'm not saying it's a bad program. Gus Malzahn was a huge get for them, I think. He's already making huge inroads in recruiting. But how long is he going to be there? If they lose Gus Malzahn, I think that's a huge loss. This is a guy that, if memory serves, he beat Nick Saban 3 times. Obviously, one of the biggest wins in Iron Bowl history.
Iconic.
Exactly. An iconic win.
Yeah.
Developed a guy like Cam Newton. You look at Gus Malzahn's work at Auburn, this is a huge get for LSU. That's the issue. And it becomes, it's almost like you're on the coaching carousel, but it's a treadmill and you're running at like 8.
Yeah.
And you're just constantly trying. Because if Gus Malzahn truly does leave UCF, ask yourself this. Who are they going to replace him with? Because, again, and I'm just asking candidly, is that a great job? Is UCF a job where you're like, well, hot damn?
Well, it's a better job if they're in the Big 12 than where they are now.
Certainly,
it's
certainly
better.
that helps UCF.
It's not, again, and this is the struggle with UCF. I find myself struggling to kind of quantify the value they bring, because it's like, yeah, dude, thare not a crappy program. This is a
not
good,
at all.
This is a good program, but at the same time, it doesn't have the it factor. What are you left to hold on to with UCF? Well, I don't know either, but at the same time, what I do know is they have a massive student body. They are a fun program to watch, and at the end of the day, once or twice a season, they're going to play BYU, so they're on ESPN, which is all the Big 12 cares about. So to me, whether, eventually, yeah, if this all comes together like it's looking like it's going to come together, UCF and Gus are going to be in the Big 12, and then eventually Gus is going to leave, probably 2 seasons in, I would think. Honestly, that's like the realistic timeline in college football, because you feel like, Ed's got to lose a few more games. He's got to get embarrassed by an SEC opponent.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a few more things that happen here to kind of get him out of that program.
But even if Gus is there for 2 seasons,
yeah,
I just think he leaves a crater-size hole to fill. And
it depends. It kind of depends, right? Like it depends. If they're on the same page, right? Because I also think this could be an angle. And again, this is just speculation. That's all it is. There's no proof behind it or anything. But speculating, if Gus said to UCF, "Listen, I want to lead your program for the next couple of seasons. I'm not going to be a 10-year guy here. Like that's not going to happen. But a couple of seasons, and here's what we're going to do while I'm here. So be ready for me to leave." If they're on the same page in that light, then I don't think the whole backfilling Gus is that big. Yes, you need to find a quality candidate to back him up, but that's any program in the country, any program. So to me, the real question is, in terms of UCF and the Big 12, is LSU and Ed O. Because if LSU and Ed O break up and the world comes burning down for LSU, and we feel like it was only 5 minutes ago that Joe Burrow was smoking that cigar in the locker room, that's chaos. That's insane.
But I also think if you look at where UCF has come from, the George O'Leary days, the Knights are a much bigger brand now.
They're climbing, definitely.
Right? And if Gus Malzahn leaves there after 2 years, I think that's going to be a very difficult pill to swallow, because I think when you look at what he's going to do in recruiting, that might be their biggest asset. That they're going to be more talented over the next 3 to 5 years if Gus is still there. But I don't know who you replace him with. I don't mean to speak in eventualities, but you have a guy in Scott Frost. How long was Scott Frost there? 1 year he was there. Like you look at Scott, and I just think That's the thing you worry about. At UCF, you worry about Josh Heupel. You worry about those short-term guys. At some point, you'd really like to have a guy that's there 10 years.
But isn't that like that's the challenge you face, basically across the country in programs outside of like Alabama or, any of these like premier nameplates that we hear about every single year, the Ohio States and like all those guys.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to worry about that. But and even BYU doesn't have to worry about that with Kalani. Utah doesn't have to worry about it with Whit. But I'm talking about the teams that, like Chip Kelly is a perfect example. Chip Kelly, everybody thought, and this is amazing to me, everybody thought that UCLA was going to fire Chip Kelly after his embarrassing 2 and 3 win seasons. And now I know it's only one game, right? It's only one game. Got to prove it over 5, 6, 7 weeks that you're actually a legit team.
Yeah.
But let's say that they go out and LSU or UCLA rolls out to like runs off 6 or 7 wins in a row here. How good is UCLA going to look and Chip Kelly going to look? Because they finally found stability. So the question to me is for UCF is right now here today, do you and Gus have an understanding that he's probably not going to be here for 10 years? If you don't have that understanding, then yes, there's going to be big time problems because when that LSU job opens up, and it will open up, that's going to happen at some point in the next 2 seasons, I would think. Once that job opens up, chaos is gonna happen. And if UCF, assuming this whole Big 12 thing comes together, and UCF is committed to the Big 12, I would just hope that the Big 12 is taking these kind of things into consideration because I think it matters.
Yeah, and I also think the thing that matters is what do all 4 of these teams bring to that league? Because I think BYU, and I know that like Oklahoma State fan hates this show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
State fan.
Oklahoma State fan hates this show. Because I say this all the time, like I think BYU will walk into the Big 12 as one of the top 3 to 5 teams in that league in football. And I think they will contend every single year for a conference championship for the next 5 years. Because they're going to get an immediate boost in recruiting. Kalani and his staff are already doing a very good job recruiting. And when you add a seat at the national championship table, I mean that automatically boosts your ability to recruit. Because as much stigma as OSU fan and every other Big 12 fan wants to put on
K-State.
K-State guy went off in the comments yesterday talking about how you didn't even mention Snyder and how do you leave out Kansas in the basketball conference? Guy, with all due respect, Kansas is a great basketball program. Do they have a football team still? I mean,
this is like North Carolina, bro. That's a basketball school. Don't you know that?
Right, and it's one of those things where I think BYU is going to have a much steeper hill to climb in basketball because I think the Big 12 is a fantastic basketball conference. Football-wise, BYU should be able to contend for a conference championship every single year, in my opinion. They are underrated because they are not known. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many fans outside of the great state of Utah that can even name who the starting quarterback at BYU is. I don't know how many fans can do that. And I think that's one of the biggest. The stigmas around BYU are incredible to me.
And they're going to lead to people getting slapped in the face.
I think they will.
That's what's going to happen.
Just a bunch of church ball guys.
Yeah.
Until they're not, right? So I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But as far as, like UCF goes, I just think their fortunes right now are going to be tied to Gus Malzahn. And you cannot have the Josh Heupel, Scott Frost, short stay, hey, I'm leaving for a better job. Now, frankly, Josh Heupel did not exactly win the world.
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
Didn't he lose the first game in 5 years?
I think so.
Something like that. I mean, but it's very difficult if you are at the level that UCF is at to keep these guys.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
Anyway.
No doubt.
Here nor there. That was an interesting first 20 minutes. Let's see what the comments section has to say.
Okay, how many, oh my God, you guys are late today comments do we have?
Joshua Blaylock Dixon, I don't know what you're doing, bro. But all of your comments are getting filtered. He says, guys, there's 18 people are watching and there's only 4 likes. Come on, man. Okay, well, what are you doing here then? I mean, we started an hour later than we usually do. Apologies. We had life. But I mean, nobody has got you anchored to this show.
I don't know if he's saying that to us or if he's saying that to the commenters. I don't know.
I don't know, but his comments are all getting hidden, so I don't know what he's saying.
By the way, again, I always like to say this for all the new people: we don't moderate the comments. YouTube does that.
YouTube does that. Jeremy Bolton says BYU brings exactly what Mike Gundy said last week. Everyone sees BYU as a P5 program. Anyway, yeah, they do.
Yep.
And I think that's why you're seeing Iowa State talking about how they've solidified their Western Front. And again, I will simply just say the Pac-12's in real trouble. The Pac-12, and mind you, I'm a passionate Pac-12 football fan. The Pac-12 is in real trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, this conference had an opportunity to put their foot on the Big 12's neck and chose not to do it. The Pac-12 could easily have expanded to 16 teams and taken the cream of the crop of what was left. Certainly, you would have loved to have had Kansas to the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
You would love to have had BYU in the Pac-12. You would love to have had Houston in the Pac-12.
Yeah, but they're not going to expand. It's just they're not going to expand. They're not going to do a streaming deal. They're not. Nah.
I'm telling
Why
you now.
would they do that?
But I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why my volume's doing that, but I'm telling you right now that the Pac-12 is in real trouble here. They missed an opportunity, and that is until they're not, and until they make a move that says otherwise, the Pac-12 is a dying league now.
Agreed.
And I think USC and Oregon had better have huge years in football, and they had better find a way to win a basketball tournament because the Pac-12 is irrelevant. Nobody watches their games. They're not on national TV. Their major brands are. Obviously, with ABC, you're going to get USC. With NBC, you're going to get USC Notre Dame. You're going to find Oregon on TV.
The East Coaster has no
idea.
Is going to think USC and UCLA. That's what they're going to think. They're not thinking about Utah. They're not thinking about the Arizona schools. They're not thinking about Stanford. No. They're not thinking about Washington State. They're not even. I would honestly, at this point, I don't know that they're even thinking about Washington.
The Nye guy says all NFL fans are still haunted by Chip Kelly's dumpster fire.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Tanner Plummer says, as an Eagles fan, Chip Kelly still haunts me. Okay, I'm with you on that.
It was brutal.
James Knight, morning to you. Neville93 says, everyone is hyped for the Jazz team, and the schedule looks great. I live in Midvale, Utah. I would love that Xbox.
Well,
I mean, and there is everybody now is begging for the Xbox.
Well, okay, so what? Listen, I'm open to ideas. Like I said yesterday on the show, this is just sitting here, and it's ready for someone to come in and swoop it up. Now, what you have to do,
I'm sorry, did you say slurp it up?
No, I said swoop it up.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm older, my hearing's
Yeah, you don't slurp Xboxes. This isn't Kevin Durant. Come on. Let's clarify that. Anyway, point is, I mean, what does someone have to do? I mean, we gotta answer this question.
I don't know, but our meteoric rise continues on this show. I mean, unless you're Joshua Blaylock Dixon, who thinks we're a nobody. But how
dumb do you think I am?
That we added 100 subs yesterday on this channel. I'm pretty happy with that for just little old nobodies who don't watch Jazz basketball
or BYU games. I mean, or Utah,
and we know nothing about UCF or Oklahoma State.
Or Oklahoma State fan.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean,
You know.
I mean, we're just over here trying to do our thing.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I have no idea what that was.
Cody Strickland says, shot made my arm numb for days.
Oh,
what did you get? Cody, what did you get,
dude?
What shot did you get?
Pfizer?
I'm going to guess. Joshua Blaylock Dixon says, I love the Monty show. Appreciate that. Casey Finlinson says, with Mark Pope and his recruiting abilities, it shouldn't take long to bring BYU up basketball to the Big 12 level. Well, I think
that's a real conversation.
That is a real conversation.
Yeah,
real. Now, by the way, now how big does the Pope hiring look?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
And that's kind of my question. And these are the things that I think about. This whole Big 12 thing, this has been hanging around for what, 5 years now?
Oh,
I
at
mean,
least.
like at least.
At
so,
least.
So if you've been BYU, you've been thinking about like, okay, you know, if we even wind the clocks back all the way to the Kalani hiring, all the way even back to those days, like that to me.
Wait.
What?
James Knight says, "Hey Joshua Blaylock Dixon, I'm friends with your mom."
Do you want to set up the meeting?
By the way, predictably, Blaylock says, James Knight, no, you're not. Are you sure? He wasn't serious.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Your name is Blaylock. That just is what it is. Blaylock, I'm pretty sure he's not friends. I think he was being
Facetious.
Yeah. Big word out of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, if Coach Witt prepared for conference championships the same way he preps for BYU, not mentioning names, playing old film of rivalries in sports facilities, he might win something. Wow.
I mean, they were one game away from the college football playoff in 2019, so.
Yeah, but I think much to your point,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a moment that BYU's been preparing for probably a decade.
Yeah, a decade.
And hiring Mark Pope now looks like
Good move.
when Dave Rose retired, I think you didn't know where you were going to go. And you wind up with Mark Pope, and now you feel like that was a huge win. And you did that. But again, to the Tom Homo point, in Tom we trust, right? I mean,
Good
that's
leadership.
why if you're a BYU fan, if you're a Utah fan, in Witt we trust. In Coach K we trust. No, we don't. Anyway, the point is, I'll miss Coach
That
K.
was cold-blooded.
I'll miss Larry
That
K.
was cold-blooded, bro.
And his jackets. My point is that I think now you have to trust Tom Holmoe even more than you ever have. So, and it's good. By the way, the plight of the Utah Utes is very interesting in this whole conversation.
Boy, they better win, dude.
Because, well, you better win now, and then you better, figure out where you're going. Because where is Utah going? Because I'm telling you, the Pac-12 is not going to remain the same. It may change, they may lose, they may add. It's not going to stay the same. It isn't. It'll be interesting to watch. Cody Strickland says he got the Pfizer jab. So you had zero reaction to the Pfizer jab over the weekend.
Yeah, but I also am a unique case, right? So, like, remember...
Well, yeah, you lift.
Well, I lift. Well, not the last week, but yeah, generally speaking, I lift.
And you drink, dead chicken blood.
Right, yeah. So it ups my immune system. I don't take horse dewormer like some people we know. But,
Excuse me, it's ivermectin, please.
My bad. Sorry, ivermectin.
So Jake went over to our neighbor's house. They have a chicken coop, and he just... he calls me, I'm at Yellowstone, he calls me, he lops off the head of a chicken and just chugs the blood right out of the throat.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
I'm just saying.
I made that up right now on the fly. I want you to know that. Anyway, the point is you had no reaction, but you also have had COVID.
Yeah.
You also haven't had sex ever.
Right, right.
And you had the J&J vaccine.
Right, yeah.
So getting the COVID vaccine from Pfizer...
Yeah.
It seems like it kind of bulletproofed you.
Yeah, I mean, my arm was like, just felt like I got a shot, but I didn't. I had
ever,
dude. I had a very, very mild little headache, but other than that, nothing. I was fine, so it's cool.
Guy, you just now when I say that you're a virgin or you haven't had sex ever, which you're not, and you have.
Many
you just
times.
gloss over it. You're
I mean, what am I supposed to say? Yeah, I definitely did.
Hey, man, I pound a box like a porn star.
I'd love it to be wider.
By the way, did you see Donald Trump is now going to call an MMA match?
Yeah, whatever, dude.
The Holyfield Belfort match?
Dude.
What are we doing?
Piss off, man.
Anyway. The Nye guy says, I got the Pfizer and just recovered from COVID. Felt like a sinus infection. Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
James Knight says, Monty, tell me the landscaping finished and it looks kick-ass.
Yeah, someone brought it up. Let's go.
Are we going to do that now?
What time is it? That's
I mean,
we got 23 minutes or so.
Okay. Tanner Plummer says, did you hear that Quinn Snyder visited BYU basketball's practice? I did not.
Yeah, he gave a speech to them and everything, yeah.
Nice. Eric C. says, my day isn't right without my daily dose of Monty. You're welcome. That's what she said.
Wow.
There's a problem, man. I'm telling you.
I love that show.
Jeremy Bolton says, I'll come mow your lawn, water your plants, etc. for a summer if I get the Xbox.
Wow.
Okay. Red Heart Norvis says, I don't care about the Xbox. I just like the show. Favorite part is about learning exotic American foods. Cody Strickland says, do a 2,000 giveaway for the Xbox. All right. How about we do? Well, wait. How about this? We're at 17.9 or what are we?
No. We're approaching 1900.
Are we really?
Yeah, we're yesterday.
Oh yeah,
you texted me.
1866.
Yeah, we're approaching 1900.
All right. So how about we do? That's not
hello
Rockstar. How about?
By the way, affiliate links in the description. Thanks.
Yeah,
so
you
much.
can get our Rockstar recovery. Yeah, go ahead, buy it. You want to donate? Go ahead and buy our Rockstar links.
Better giveaways to come if you do that.
Because we're doing a Traeger giveaway.
Yeah.
At
Ironwood 650 at 2500.
So we're at 18 now.
Yeah.
Man, that is coming.
We're almost
quick.
at 19. Yeah, we're almost at 19.
That is coming quick.
Well, you weren't joking yesterday. Legit. We have screenshots. 100 subs yesterday.
The show's doing well. Well, how about we do this?
Yeah.
If we're going to do the Traeger at 2500.
Uh-huh.
What if we do because everybody wants the Xbox.
Right.
It seems like people are not even excited about the Traeger. Bro, we're giving away a Traeger Ironwood 650.
I don't think people know how sick the Traeger is, dude.
If you have not watched our lifestyle vlogs on the last couple of weekends, the Traeger's amazing. It'll change your life. Even if you're a barbecue guy, you're not a barbecue. Forget propane ever even existed.
You don't have to. The biggest thing with the Traeger that I'll say real quick, the awesome thing about it is you don't have to. Everybody thinks, people who don't smoke and never have but just hear about this think that, oh, it's an all-day process. It doesn't have to be like that. You can literally, over the weekend in a lifestyle video, go find it. I literally took a half hour on the Traeger, and that was it. Turned it on, turned it off. That easy. And it takes 10 minutes to heat up. It's really quite easy. So, yeah.
I think it is. I think Traegers are way underrated.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this at 3,000?
Okay.
Is that too long?
I think that's too long, yeah.
Okay, 5,000.
Okay. I always knew you liked more length, but I didn't realize it was that much.
Girth.
Right.
Girthy.
Right.
We'll come up with something. I mean, honestly, I think we're adding so many people to the show that hopefully it's not long before we get to 2,000. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. No, don't ask me about merch.
Bro, the merch thing
is so frustrating.
Freaking topic.
I am so frustrated with it.
We've been working our ass off to get merch to you guys. And how many? I've reached out to like 3 people. No. Nope.
The hard part is, and a lot of people ask me this on Twitter, the reason we don't have a merch line yet is the design is done.
We have all the graphics and everything. It's ready.
The hard part is there's nobody in Salt Lake where I can say, okay, hey, we want to build a website, have you go to the website, order a sweatshirt, and have them print it and ship it to you. But all they want to do is they want to say, oh, yeah, we'll do that. We'll have it sent to Bangladesh. They'll print it, and then they'll ship it, and your customer will get it like 6 weeks later. And it's like, are you serious?
So my feeling is, and I actually was thinking, it's so funny this got brought up. I was thinking about this last night. My feeling is I think what we're probably going to get forced into doing is doing drops, basically, where we're going to have to pre-order. We're going to have all the product delivered to us, and then we're going to have to send it out, which I guess is fine. I mean, it's cool, but it just is. We were hoping to streamline the process. That's what the holdup has been, trying to find somebody who can help us execute that. So maybe I think what we may do is I don't know. We were going to do the Xbox giveaway tied to merch. We were gonna do that. It's just been impossible to find somebody. So it's we're trying.
James Knight has a request.
Okay. Oh boy.
James Knight, who's one of our favorite listeners.
He is. Yes.
He lives in Australia.
Yes.
And apparently he's banging Joshua Blaylock's mom. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what James says.
I heard a rumor that he knocked down Luca's mom too.
Well, you know what? He's a baller.
Yeah.
Okay, that came out the wrong way.
I doubt that.
Wow. James Knight says, do me a favor, guys. Can we ban Joshua like we banned Growcock? He's annoying me already. We didn't ban Growcock.
No, dude just doesn't show up.
Because it's at like 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night in Australia right now.
I don't give a big
Yeah, James, you
fuck.
know this. James is actually an adult, though he can stay up.
Yeah, he doesn't have a curfew. You know, doesn't have a bedtime.
We treat him like an adult.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not going to ban Joshua. Joshua Blaylock Dixon, I love you too. He says, I love the Monty Show. We love you too. Casey says, give away the Xbox at 1984. Go Cougs. That's funny. My Traeger smoked Luca's mom. I like it, guy.
Hey.
I like it.
You know?
Cody Strickland says, season tickets to the Jazz at 5,000. Come on, man.
See, and this is why the merch thing is so important. With merch, we can do better giveaways. We're happy to,
Okay, why don't we then just, because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to print 100 shirts or 100 sweatshirts and have them sitting in my house and then have to
Well, no, that's not how you do it. So here's how you do it. And this is backroom stuff here. What you do is you order a limited amount and you give them away. People have, you put them on the website. Hey, they're available. If you guys buy them, we'll put more out. If you don't, then we won't.
Well, and one of the things we've talked about doing is, how the Jazz have like the dark logo, the dark jersey?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like doing a Monty Show logo in those colors.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was a rivalry shirt, where we ran some like red and blue or
dude. We have all kinds of designs.
Yeah, we have all kinds of designs. And it just is a matter of finding somebody to do it.
Okay, in the comments, outside of all the, shenanigans going on already, what do you guys want? Shirts, hoodies, what do you want?
Skull caps.
socks,
The three things we've talked about are T-shirts, hoodies, and skull caps. And so it's a matter of what you guys want. Let's ban Tanner for that last comment. Tanner said, who would win in a fight, Max Hall's mom or Luca's mom? By the way, Luca's mom is still not hot. Sorry, not sorry. Well, Tanner, we've appreciated your participation in the show.
Maybe you can get on Driftwood's truck and, head down the road.
Yeah,
okay?
You're out. I mean, anybody that thinks Luca's mom's not hot. And like Tanner trying to paint me in a corner the other day, I can't even remember what he was commenting on. Oh, he said that I said BYU shouldn't join the Big 12. And it's like, Tanner, listen, man, for such a young guy, your hearing is broken.
Come on, guy.
Kevin Vanderwerf says the Australian guy probably has a similar accent to the Australian Shaq. He probably does, man. I'm going to guess if you're Australian, you have an Australian accent. Like,
is that a real question?
Shrimp on the bobby, mate.
Okay, never do that again.
Okay, I won't ever do that again. No. All right, a couple of things. Because we are kind of running out of time here. Yeah. Because we started late, so we're going to end late.
Right.
Is what it is. My dog's going back to the vet today.
Oh, Jesus. So now this is your other dog,
Django.
Because the first time the dog went, that was Rhino, and that was the whole.
And that was when he had his ass vacuumed, and everything was fine. Right? Everything was fine. Well, what else do you call it? You can't just
casually say he got his ass vacuumed, bro.
He did. That's what they do to dogs. So it was fine. It was like $200. I was good with it. So so then we send my dog Django, who is a rat terrier. Little guy.
My God,
we send him to the vet to get his nails trimmed. He gets his shots. They look at all his moles. They're like, he's fine. Give us $1 million. All right, cool.
Right.
So they're clipping his nails. And you know how dogs have like that nail on
their dew claw.
Dew claw. Yeah. All right, cool. Dew tour. Their dew tour on their arm, right? They were clipping it, and apparently he yanked his arm away from the vet, and it ripped the nail off of his dew claw. And so they taped it, but it's swollen, and now the tape won't come off because it's stuck to his arm.
Y'all about to fuck this up.
Yeah, they did. And my guess is we're going to take him back because he's going to the vet this morning.
Yeah.
My guess is we're going to take him back to the vet, and they're like, yeah, we can do surgery to take the dew claw off that we screwed up, but that's going to be like $1 million.
Yeah.
So now, much like the paver story I'm about to tell, do we, because they should not charge us to take care of this.
Well, I mean, they're going to say that he pulled away, but I'm going to say, hey, you're a human, he's a dog, you should have that secured.
I think you're the vet.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you to break my dog. I'm paying you to fix the MFer so that my wife isn't like, oh, he's suffering. Sell the house.
Spinal.
All right. Like, I'm paying you to clip his nail without ripping his arm off. Because the thing now looks like he's got a strawberry, a literal, like,
yeah, dude, it's not good, man.
It's not
good.
It's like a knob. Anyway, the point is, so I'm going to have to argue with the vet today. And then the paver dude.
Bro.
Okay, so the pavers are installed. Yes, James Knight, they look fantastic.
Okay, wait. Quick synopsis of what happened though. The whole timeline for the new people.
Ooh, Mrs. Monty rocking the Air Jordan 1. All white, snakeskin. I like it.
There you go.
She's hot.
Okay.
Anyway.
Moving on.
The paver guy, I hire a paver guy. He's like, okay, we'll be there in 2 weeks. It'll take us 4 days. You'll be done by the 27th. All right, cool. Shows up on the 27th to start the work. Oh, it rained. We got delayed 2 days. Okay, fine. Does a day of work, doesn't show up for 3 days.
You emailed and called.
I emailed. I called. He doesn't write back. He doesn't call back. What do you know? Monday he shows up. Digs out a bunch of grass, doesn't show up on Tuesday. Shows up on Wednesday, dumps a bunch of dirt in the ground. Shows up on Thursday, does some grading. I say to the guy, hey, man, it's my wife's birthday this weekend. This needs to be done by Friday. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. No problem. Friday, not done. Saturday,
My fucking ass.
he finishes Saturday at like 5 o'clock. Wants me to pay him the full freight. So basically, I say, hey, I'm at Yosemite, man, or I'm at Yellowstone. I'm not paying you anything until Tuesday at 8:30, be at my door. And the guy's like, no, I'm not leaving your house until I get paid. And so I said, okay, well, I'm not paying you. You can hang out if you want, but I'm not paying you. You want to get paid? Be at my house Tuesday morning at 8:30. He's like, okay, fine. I wish people understood how tough this job is. That's what he said. And so I said to him, well, hey, we used to flip and be contractors and stuff. We know we have put in paver walkways. We know exactly what's going on, right? We know what this should have been. He shows up yesterday morning, right on time. Rang my doorbell at 8:28.
What do you know?
Wants to get paid.
Oh.
The motherfucker shows up right on time.
You want to get paid, you show up. Shocker.
So me and Mrs. Monty go up there, and the guy isn't owning anything. The guy will not be like, he was not like, yeah, I made some mistakes. I should have communicated. I should have finished on time. I'm terrible at what I do. Why don't you go ahead and keep your money? Didn't say any of that. Well, you guys don't understand. I'm like, okay, well, what I understand is, and I said to him, you're a week and a half late. I told you it needed to have been done by Friday, and you no-showed and then finished on Saturday at 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, you don't understand. There were delays in loading sand into my truck.
For such a smart person, you really are lost, aren't you?
I'm like, wait, and I and Mrs. Monty is sitting right here, so I am not exaggerating. I said to him, so you're a week and a half late because it took too long to load your truck? And he's like, what? Well, I had to take my laborer home. And I said, that's all well and good, man, but and my wife straight up said to the guy, if you'd have showed up and if you'd have communicated, this would have been done and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So at this point, I owed the guy $2,692. So we go round and round, and the guy never takes responsibility, doesn't really apologize.
Right.
And so I said to him, he goes, fine, what's the bottom line? I said, I'm willing to pay you $2,000, period. He goes, no, that's not going to be good enough. You know what, man? $2,200, the minimum I'd be able to take. And I said to him, I'm not negotiating here. I am not negotiating.
Yeah.
$2,000, take it or leave it. Well, I'll have my people call your people. And I'm like, okay. And
when he said that, what was your take on that?
I said, okay. I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, you're really going to do this? I'm like, yeah, you could be. And I said to him, because you're not being humble. You're not owning this at all, man. That you were late, that you don't communicate. I've called you. And I said to him, I've called you. I've emailed you. I've texted you. You have not emailed me back but one time. And you told me in writing. And this is the other thing. This is where he lost my wife. This is where Mrs. Monty got off the train. He said, I said to him, well, I have it in writing. He goes, well, I remember what I told you by voice. And my wife was like, it doesn't matter what you said by voice. And it's true. If we wind up in court, it only matters what you put in writing.
Yep.
And in writing, you said the 27th, and then you said last Thursday. So anyway, here and there, we wound up at $2,000.
Okay.
He took it, and then he tries to send me an invoice for the $2,000, and it says on the invoice, last deposit. And so I wrote back to him. I said, I'm not paying this. I need language in writing that says this is my final payment to you, and our business and our relationship is concluded. So he replies with a new invoice that says, hey, this is the final payment. Our relationship's concluded only if you pay by 9:30 Mountain Time. I'm like, all right, man, I'm just going to pay this. You get your little 9:30 win. Cool flex, bro. Like, I paid it and it's over. And the pavers look good. And this is what you said, and I think my wife agrees with this. His work is not in question.
Nothing to do with the work, dude.
The actual finished product, out of 100, I'd give him like a 96.
And this is the thing, and I think this applies to a lot of different things. If this guy would have just said, hey, here's the deal. I'm a couple days behind here, and I'm dealing with some things with my partner guy, my helper guy, and so it's setting me back. This is the timeline that I have that I can realistically get this done in. This wouldn't have been an issue. He would have got paid his full freight, but he didn't do that.
Yeah. By the way, Spencer Morgan has an important question.
Okay.
Did you try ivermectin on the dog? Well, I don't know that ivermectin fixes like Dutour claws.
Hydroxychloroquine.
We did try hydroxychloroquine though, and it didn't work. Just so you know. But he no longer has malaria, but the claw is still a problem.
Did you get the UV rays and the sunlight injected into his system?
I did stick an infrared light up his ass, and that did not seem to fix the arm either. Although they did vacuum the light out of his butt.
Oh my god, dude!
How would you like to, when your butt itches, have to have a vacuum attached to it, and they just suck it out? Like,
Sometimes I think I just say shit.
Right? Like
Sample
that's
what comes out of my mouth.
That's the life that dogs live. Anyway. Yeah, I know it's called evacuating their glands.
But vacuuming his butthole sounds better.
It does. Butthole's a great word.
Evacuating glands. I'm not evacuating anything.
I don't know. Cody Strickland says, hey, I want to hear about it if the guy showed up at 8:30. He did show up at 8:30.
Yes, he did.
Kevin Vanderwerf, you'll need a lot more subs for that $1 million. Okay.
The $1 million?
I don't know what the $1 million is.
I don't know what that
Tanner
is.
Plummer says, Red Heart Norvis, coincidence, I think not. Grocock was the one who held the world together. He was. I mean, Corey Grocock is still one of the greatest listeners ever on this show.
In the one picture we have of him is an absolute G picture, dude.
Shirtless mullet in Australia.
I think he had
amazing.
a Jordan jersey on the wall behind him.
Yeah. I don't know. James Knight says, does the landscaper dude know about the reach of the Monty Show juggernaut? And can we muddy his lack of professionalism, so-called business? Yeah. And I said that to him. I said, it's not a problem of your work is not the problem. Your professionalism's the issue. And which is absolutely true. Kevin Vanderwerf says, for the vet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need more subs so I can afford the vet.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. I'm so done with having to struggle for good service.
Vexes me.
Yeah, I'm terribly vexed. Yeah. Speaking of which, you hate people that have kids.
That's not true.
So
that is not true.
So we were talking about this today. Yeah, exactly. Norvis says Monty should get another dog and name her after Luca's mom. My next dog is going to be named Luca's mom. Although, let's talk about this because this goes along the line of kids. So we're trying to figure out where are we going to go travel to do this show from. Because we're not anchored to Salt Lake City to work, and one of the things we're passionate about is traveling. So Jake wants to go to L.A. for a week. My wife is like, no, L.A. sucks. There's no redeemable humans there. So
that's totally not what
she said. That's not what she said. So I wanted to. So I'm the guy, I don't value money a whole lot. Honestly, I'll buy every shoe in the world if I can live in it. Because I'll buy shoes instead of pay my mortgage.
Okay,
I'm
probably
kidding.
not.
I'm just trying
probably
to mess
not,
with my
bro.
wife. But I don't value money a whole lot. So I wanted to go and spend a week at a beach house in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
We have family and friends there. I haven't seen my friends in LA in forever. The best Mexican food in the world is there. So it was going to be like $5,000. So it would have been $2,500 for Jake, $2,500 for me.
Yeah.
And we just stayed 10 days in LA at a beach house in Huntington.
That would have been awesome.
My wife's like, that's too much. I'm not doing that. I was like, okay, cool. So then we started looking at Aspen. And my wife's like, well, Aspen sucks. Let's go to Vail and go to Beaver Creek because the people in Aspen smell. She didn't say that either. She's literally sitting here like, what are you doing? But we're going to snowboard in Aspen and Vail this year. So Jake's like, I don't want to go to Aspen and Vail because we're going to go there over the winter. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to go. But the problem is, what do we do with our dogs?
Yeah, this is the crux of the conversation.
So my guy Rhino travels well. He is great. You put him in the car. He sleeps. He licks your leg. Everything's good. Rhino, on the other hand, Django, on the other hand, shakes and quivers like the world's coming to an end, and he thinks we're driving him to throw him into like a dog grinder or something. Like he crazy panics.
It's going to go into crisis lockdown mode here at the house.
Then you stop at Jack in the Box in St. George. You feed him a burger patty, and he sleeps the rest of the drive.
But hold on. But doesn't Mrs. Monty have drugs to drug him down for the drive?
Yeah, but she has a conscience too. Like, see, I would just knock him out. Like, I would dope him up and we would drive.
Give him the burger, give him some drugs, and let's knock it out.
My wife is actually a good person, so she doesn't want to do that.
Uh-huh.
And I think we should drug the guy. I mean, hell, I'm not going to judge him for smoking weed. And it's just complicated to travel the dog.
Right.
So my wife doesn't want to board the dog.
Which I don't blame her for that either. I don't blame her for that.
So the things that we've thought about is like, where else are we going to go? We were just at not Yosemites, but Yellowstone.
Right. Yeah.
So we just went to Yellowstone. We talked about the Tetons, but there's not internet service there.
Here's the thing that you can't beat about LA. Yes, it is expensive.
Yes.
I don't doubt that. It's expensive. It's it is. But I'm the guy who says, why do I work my ass off to do what we do at Yelp and all this stuff if we're not going to go and enjoy it? So like the money wasn't really the thing for me. The thing for me was, we're going. Oh boy, there he goes. All right, there he goes.
At least let me kiss. Here's my dog. This is Django. Bye. Oh, buddy.
Bro, that thing is a gnar, dude. That thing is like,
buddy.
That's.
His dew claw is not good.
Anyway, point is my biggest thing is I like to do LA once a year, and when we were in Phoenix, I would go for my birthday, because it's just a good time of year to go. But now
it's also a 5.5 hour drive.
So this is the other side of the conversation. From Salt Lake City to Phoenix is 9.5 hours. From Salt Lake City to LA is about 9.5 hours. I did Phoenix to Salt Lake in 8 hours on my own. So
right, because you drive like an asshole. Though.
Okay, who gives a
You drive like...
I didn't get a ticket on the reservation. I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you pay that ticket?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
But that's the problem. When you have my wife, is, it's just, if it was just you and I.
Well, yeah, that's a different conversation. My point just is.
Or me, I guess, you and me.
The point is that going to Aspen or Vail in the summer does not compare to going to LA. That's the thing you can't get around here.
There's not great Mexican food
There's not great Mexican food.
There's not hot chicks in bikinis on the beach.
There's not hot chicks walking around. There's not,
The caliber of shopping is far less.
There's
no
cool
House of
ocean
Hoops.
breeze.
I said there's no House of Hoops.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. The House of Hoops hasn't been stocked in 2 years because of COVID. That's the problem.
Thanks. Anyway, the point is, there's no liberals, hippies smoking weed and breaking glass for Antifa.
Whatever.
None of that is in Aspen, like it is in LA. But it is what it is. So I don't know where we're going to go, but we're going to take this show on the road at some point. And we're really going to try and, have some fun with our lives. Not that Utah's bad, but we're in Utah every day. So, because somebody, I can't remember who asked why we're traveling, because we like to travel.
Because it's fun.
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want to? So, but then there's your point. So Cancun Ted Cruz said that he was on Twitter the other day, and somehow he got into a comment on unemployment.
Yeah.
And he commented on the end of unemployment benefits. And he said simply, get a job.
Yeah.
What do you say to those people who are struggling because unemployment benefits are coming to an end? Cocaine Ted, or I guess, I don't know if he's,
Cruz.
Said, quote, get a job.
So here's the issue with that. Number one, just telling somebody to get a job is not the way to go about it. But I don't like, the part that I have issue with, is just on a very surface level, right? People who have kids and who have a family and everything are already getting huge tax breaks. They're already getting a ton of help.
Now, having said that, you're single.
Right. So
not
I'm
married,
single,
no kids, don't own a house.
I'm getting, I looked at my pay stub. I'm at like 140 for the year, and I'm only seeing about 90 of that right now. That's how much I pay in taxes because I don't have kids. So to me, when I hear, hey, I have kids and what am I going to do and I can't find a job, that's a bunch of horse crap. There are a ton of jobs available, And there have been jobs available. And so to me, it's frustrating because you're already getting huge tax breaks because you have kids. You're getting a tax break on your house because you can claim stuff off your house if you're smart. And to me, it's just like, dude, like, I just think it's so messed up for someone to be like, oh, well, I can't figure it out. I can't find a job. What am I going to do with the kids?
Well, and I think that's a big conversation in this country because I actually agree with Cancun Ted Cruz. Get a job. All I do all day, for those of you who are new to the show, is Jake and I work at Yelp. We build small business all day. So all I do is talk to people like, yeah, man, I would love to, get this done, but I can't really take more business because I don't have any employees. I can't find people who will work. I can't find people who will get off of unemployment. Hopefully that changes now. But I look at like the kid thing really matters to me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm fortunate. Jake, for those you don't know, is my son. He's my one and only. That's it, right? And I do think that there is a certain sect in this country who don't want to work because they just don't want to work. And the government paid them to stay home for the last 18 or months, 2 years. My point is, I think we do so much more for people that have kids in this country. You're almost penalized, not almost, you are penalized for not having multiple children because of the tax credits. And I think at some point, like the first thing we saw the other night on 60 Minutes, unemployment benefits coming to an end. What did they do? They put a mother on that's like, I don't know how I'm going to afford my child care. And it's like, here's where I lose myself. Because I understand that families are paramount, and I believe in the American family structure. I have no problem with kids at all. What I have a problem with is you've known for 2 years that these protections were going to come to an end, and you're just now trying to figure out what you're going to do for childcare. Because you can work. This lady was an emergency room nurse who chose to stay home because she didn't want to pay for childcare. So she stayed home, took unemployment, and now has to go back to work and doesn't want to give money to childcare, so she's not going back to work. To me, that's victimhood. And I understand childcare is expensive. I understand when you have kids, it causes a certain set of circumstances. But you're penalizing me for having had one child that I've raised to adulthood who makes just as much money as I do and is self-supporting. I'm having to pay the penalty for that. And much higher taxes now. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Much higher taxes, right? Like, I just think the system is broken right now.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge people that have kids, but it drives me crazy that, hey, we're going to give you X amount of more personal time because you have children who, well, my kid's sick, I need to go home from work. So who's going to have to do all that work that you're not going to do? I am. Who's going to have to, work overtime because, that's where the balance changes. And, one of the biggest fights me and my wife have had recently is over maternity leave. And, I happen to work at one of the best companies in the world for benefits. Men and women get equal leave, and Yelp is an amazing
The benefits
company.
At Yelp are not in question.
They're amazing.
More the premise of the conversation.
It is the fact that at many companies, you get 8 weeks of maternity leave because your wife had a child. You get 8 weeks of maternity leave because you as a woman had a child. They cannot ask you if you are pregnant when they hire you. So they hire you, you're 6 months pregnant, then you go on 8 weeks of maternity leave. So they paid you for 3 months, then you went on 2 months paid leave. Like, to me, that it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a guy that doesn't have any kids, I've worked my ass off to be debt-free, to build some wealth, to have a life. I'm penalized for that. And I just don't think it's right.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I agree. And that's why I don't feel bad for people who are like, oh, I don't want to work. Well, tough shit, man. Excuse my language. But that's, you got to work.
You're making yourself a victim.
Yeah.
You really are. Yeah. And I think with all the unemployment in this country right now, it's self-inflicted. It's not, it would be different if this was the 70s and we had a gas crisis and people couldn't find jobs. That's not the case. There are so many jobs. We have never had more time in this country where education has meant less.
Yeah. Because
there's so many jobs.
Yep.
That pay so much money. Employers are paying more money and more benefits. The sign-on bonuses in this world right now are absolutely insane. If you want to work, you can work. There are companies that provide now a stipend for childcare. Like, if you want a job, there are jobs out there for you. There are companies, because so many companies are having trouble hiring, do you know now that there are companies who will pay you to get educated to come to work for them? You're hired. We need a microchip designer. We're going to send you to trade school to learn how to design microchips, and you have to work for us for a minimum of 5 years, or you have to pay us back for the education. Like, where was that when I was looking for a job?
And that's the other thing, too. Like, it was so taboo when I was in high school. It was so taboo for the whole idea of, like, you know, oh, my God, you're not going to go to college? What are you doing? You're wrecking your life.
And I'm telling you, this is where we get back to things like the Trump tax break for the rich. This is where we get back to the inflationary tendencies that we saw come to life in the Trump administration that Joe Biden, in my opinion, is now building on. And this is when we talk about politics on the show and not having a party to call our own. As much as we disagreed with Donald Trump, like, I don't know what we're doing right now. I don't know what we're doing. Like, and I agree that the unemployment benefits needed to come to an end. The forbearance, I think the eviction forbearance protection should have been extended. Because you're putting people back to work. Give them 6 months, give them 90 days to earn enough money to pay their back rent that you allowed them not to pay.
Yeah. Or, I know, why don't you just tack it onto the end of their freaking mortgage?
Yeah. I don't know what you say to landlords. Landlords, and one of the reasons that I think that the karmatic gods did not put us into a rental property right now. What do you say to a landlord who's got a tenant they can't evict who's a year behind on their rent, who's been living rent-free in their home? You have no recourse.
Nope.
You think a deposit is going to cover 18 months of rental losses? I got news for you. It's not. Can you imagine owning an apartment building in a major city in this country where you cannot evict people because they're not paying their rent? And now what's going to happen? All those people all of a sudden are going to leave, hopefully. You're going to have to rehab a good part of your building, and you can't tell me that these people who weren't paying their rent didn't do significant damage to those units. I mean, how do you recover from this? It is a catastrophe. The real estate market in this country is going to go one way or the other, and my guess is we very rarely see the market go down. I think there is going to be an influx of inventory in the real estate market, and you better be ready to hop. Because if you've got the money and the liquidation to go and get real estate, it's going to be available to you. Because at some point, inventory is coming on the market. Yep. It always has, and it always will.
Yep.
And I think it's one of those things where we can all sit here and we can all kind of, try to really, hey, this is nice and we want to be good Americans. Well, guess what? At some point, being good Americans is bad for America.
Yep.
As much as people hate that. All right, let's get some of the comments in here. eBay the Sofa Surfer says, Jake is a good son, Monty. I hate the victimhood losers. He's an all right son. He's not great. Let's be honest.
I don't know that you're ever going to have grandkids, but other than that, you know.
I mean, can you please continue the DNA line?
I'm trying, dude. It matters to me.
Right, but you understand pleasuring yourself is not trying.
Right, I know. It's not about what you tried to do. It's only about what you did do.
That's exactly right. Jackson Graham, hello. He says, in some cultures, they brag when they get on welfare. It shouldn't be braggadocious in this culture. Spencer Morgan says, wait, so there are downsides to inflating the currency in order to make half the population dependent on the government? Who knew? Who knew? N-Dog Strike says, you guys are flirting with fire right now, in my opinion. Well, we are.
We are.
There we are. Jackson Graham says, I'm not an expert on the economy, but Trump did better economy and gas prices. Why? Right, but do you understand that that's like a trickle down? Like, the minute you institute an economic policy, gas prices aren't automatically going to shoot up. Inflation's not going to automatically shoot up. There are repercussions that take time. So Joe Biden there is nothing that Joe Biden has done that has hurt gas prices or helped gas prices or driven up inflation. What we are dealing with now is the backlash and the tide now coming to shore on Donald Trump's policies.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. This Afghanistan thing that everybody wants to hang around Joe Biden's neck. Joe Biden had no say in what was happening in Afghanistan. Did he do a terrible job evacuating? Yes. Yes, he did. Did he have any say in whether we were leaving Afghanistan on a certain date and time? No, he didn't. No, he did not. Spencer Morgan says, needs to be said. eBay the Sofa Surfer says, I miss Trump, Jackson. I do not.
Afghanistan.
Trump did the stuff that is screwing the economy now. Inflation. Yeah, exactly. Inflation takes time to have an impact.
Nobody says that.
And Joe is continuing it. Both parties suck. That's exactly right. And this is why I say I don't have a president. I grew up in a hardcore Republican family.
A golden era of politics, though.
Yes. And I just can't. My one dog that didn't go to the vet is upstairs howling right now. Spencer Morgan says, good luck with that. Jackson Graham says, I'm hoping Biden can at least solve some problems. I guess we'll see. Eli Manette says, I didn't like Trump, but my wallet was a lot heavier under his admin than it is now.
It was.
Okay, but ask yourself why that is. Our dog is howling loudly.
That's amazing.
James Knight says, hey, don't forget Trump introduced the bleach vaccine. Yeah, I mean, he saved the world.
Yeah, bleach your butthole.
Ramiro, hello. Comment dump. Let's see. eBay the Silver Surfer says, my uncle, man, you guys are amazing. My uncle is so screwed over by these renters in Mesa. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Ramiro says, person, woman, man, camera. Camera. TV.
Afghanistan.
Tanner Plummer says, what does it mean to be a good American? I don't know anymore. I don't know
because I think no matter who you are, you're always going to have a hater.
Had Trump, N-Dog Strike says, had Trump gotten 4 more years, we wouldn't be facing the financial crisis we are because he would have been able to finish his 8-year plan. We also wouldn't have destroyed a country. Well, what country did we destroy besides our own? I mean,
don't forget.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was the one who wanted to take all the troops out of Afghanistan and did a deal with the Taliban. Go look it up. It's public information.
And I don't know what 8-year plan you're referring to. Like, what were you hoping for? I don't know. I really don't know what 8-year plan you were hoping for. My dog is losing his mind
Your dog
upstairs.
is going ape-ass upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know what he's losing his mind about, but
he's upset.
Jackson Graham says socialism's not the answer, and I don't think anybody's saying socialism is the answer. By the way, who started the forbearance and renter guarantees? What about stimulus? Who did the stimulus? Was that Joe Biden? That wasn't Joe Biden. Red Heart Norris says the weapons and assets left in Afghanistan could be more liquidated to help those people having issues with mortgage and apartment owners. How would you have proposed getting them out of there? So this is another conversation that comes up all the time. The issue with the assets that were left in Afghanistan is, 90% of them were debilitated. Like the helicopters, the Taliban's trying to figure out how to fly these helicopters, and they don't realize they'll never get off the ground until the infrastructure of that helicopter's electronics are rebuilt. Because what we didn't know now that we know now is a lot of those components were taken out of the Hummers, the rocket launchers that everybody's pointing about.
You don't have to blow them up to disable them.
No. No. eBay the Sofa Surfer said, Biden did not plan, but he stopped the wall. Biden is a puppet with strings with a joker behind him with her cackle.
Here we go.
So this is a Kamala Harris bomb. Okay. The Taliban was tearing through Afghanistan all of last year from the time Trump signed the peace agreement. Do we forget that Donald Trump negotiated with terrorists? He negotiated with the Taliban. He legitimized the Taliban as a government. Right? I mean, you get that, right?
Nobody seems to remember that.
No, well, nobody wants to talk about it because that's not convenient. China is going to take Taiwan under Biden's watch. Sadly, it's going to happen, and Biden won't do anything about it. Well, we'll see. David Floyd says, welcome to the Big 12, BYU. Giggity says, Trump drew down troops from 13,000 last February to 2,500 by the time Biden took office. So much TDS in the chat and the hosts. LOL. Okay. David Floyd, is BYU officially in? He says. Not that I've seen. BYU, hope you guys kick the S out of Utah. Signed, Texas Tech fan. James Knight says, what's on the menu for the smoker this weekend?
Dude, something good, man.
I think we got to do wings again.
Yeah.
I think we got to do wings.
Yeah.
That would be my vote.
We can do wings.
But that's just me. I don't, I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
I think wings
are fine.
We've never done steak.
No, we haven't.
But we're not big red meat eaters right now. I'd probably do wings.
Yeah. Wings. We could do nachos. We could do...
Nachos on the smoker would be amazing. What about pulled pork nachos?
Pulled
pulled
nachos.
pork?
Could do pork.
We could do pulled pork.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the chicken breast?
I thought it was good. I thought the seasoning was good. I thought it was a lot of chicken. It was a lot of chicken.
It was a lot of chicken.
But... yeah, I mean, Don's Meats is clutch, man. I mean, the meat that they're able to get is really good.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, wow. Red Heart Norvis says, I bet you thousands, if not millions, of civilians in Afghanistan felt like that woman Jake broke up with over text.
Well,
you are never, ever going
to broke up with you over text message?
Oh, yeah, Jake did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake did. No doubt about it. Anyway, when are you guys going to...
we have to do something.
I appreciate that you guys keep asking about merch. I do.
It's not annoying at all. What's annoying is that we just don't have a contact to execute it through. We're trying, seriously, when I asked 2 weeks ago for anybody to DM us about someone that they may know who is a merch supplier or has a printing business or anything like that. We really need a contact, or else what we're going to have to do is order something and just have the orders come in and then ship them out. That's what we'll wind up having to do. I don't know.
Here's a little Big 12 news for you. My BYU guy says that it is now known that the Big 12 is voting today. Invitations will go out. Invitations and announcements will be made Friday. Okay.
There you go.
There you go. And I think that's been the timeline all along. I mean, hey, listen, if they extend invitations by Friday, again, I think the Holy War is going to be amazing. Yeah. By the way, yes, I know the Shoot, whatever your name is, says, do you guys realize the NFL starts tomorrow? Yeah, we do. The Rams are going to win the NFC. I think the Chiefs are going to win the AFC. And I think the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. Glad I could be here for you.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Spencer, yes, it is. Spencer Morgan says the Big 12 is a better run conference than the Pac-12. Yes, it is. But if you look up and down the list of teams, the Pac-12 is a better football conference than the Big 12 with teams that are rumored to add. But here's the problem, and we're almost out of time on this. But listen, the Big 12 is a better conference. The Pac-12. What are the major brands in the Pac-12? USC. I would say UCLA is a basketball brand.
Oregon,
and Utah.
Yeah,
I think those three brands with what is Washington?
But if you have to ask that question, you're not a brand in the Pac-12. This is the thing, right?
I would agree.
UCLA gets a pass for sucking because they're UCLA, right? They're a basketball school that has a ton of heritage, so they get a free pass. So to me, it's USC, UCLA, and Utah. Those are the three schools, and then Oregon. So to me, it's those four because I think Oregon's basically there every single year. I mean, you just are. So to me, it's those four brands, and everybody else, the Stanfords, the Arizona schools, all those guys are hit and miss.
James Knight says, hey, a little left field, but Jake has a striking resemblance to Ron Jeremy. Do you know who Ron Jeremy is?
Yes, I know who Ron.
The porn star who raped a bunch of chicks, who's now in jail for the rest of his life?
Right.
Okay, there you go.
Fire and fury.
ASU is a party brand. Yes, they are. Stanford is tough, but the problem is Stanford is... Okay, so again, I just ask you, is Stanford a football or a basketball school?
I would say it's a football school.
I would say neither. They're an institution of higher learning.
Yeah.
Stanford doesn't care if they win or lose, ever. They don't. I would probably, being a Glendora Tartan alum, I would probably say that their Casey Jacobson went to Stanford. Nobody, nothing. Okay, I would say that they're probably more of a basketball school. David Shaw has had a rough go the last several years. Now, before, Christian McCaffrey, they never have a quarterback, Bryce Love. Stanford's had success in football. They're a basketball school. I would more put them as a basketball school, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Kevin Vanderwerf says shirt shop in Orem. Okay, we'll check it out. Jose Luis BG says, my brother-in-law does merch from MX, Mexico. And the issues are the same. Shipping worldwide took long because you either pay $20 for shipping on a $15 item or you wait 2 months.
Yeah, and that's the problem. So it's like we don't. Here's what we don't want, and this is. I hope you guys understand this. We're not just going to roll out crappy ass T-shirts and hoodies just because you want them.
For the sake of doing it.
Like we're not doing that. I mean, if we're going to do it, it needs to be quality material. It needs to be stuff that you would legitimately want to wear in the day to day, and to do that, you got to find a quality partner to do it with, and so. We'll check out that shop in Orem, whatever T-shirt world or whatever he just said it was, or
T-shirt shop, shop.
We'll look at it, but at the end of the day, I'm just telling you, we're gonna wind up probably doing drops where we have 50 available, and it's gonna be first come first serve. That's probably what we're gonna be forced into.
David Floyd says Houston isn't groundbreaking for the Big 12. Okay, so what Big 12 school covers the Houston Metroplex, Harris County? If you think about how big Harris County is, and if you think about Houston as a university, it gives the Big 12 every corner of Texas. That's why it's significant.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think we all realize that Houston is one of those teams that's hedging. They go to the Big 12, they become a power brand. If they don't, they'll fall back into, irrelevance. And my guess is the Fertittas are not going to let that happen. So my feeling is that Houston absolutely is a big win for the Big 12. There's no doubt about that. I take that back, Jake. I apologize. I didn't know of his incarceration. My bad. Jake likes guys in jail. Trust me. Sorry. My bad. All right. Play the music. We should go. I have a life to live.
Yeah.
We have a life to live. Appreciate you guys. Please do a merch drop. Would love it. Okay? We'll work on it. As a West Virginia fan, thanks for handing Dana an L. There you go, Captain Colepile. Do you guys really wash coal clean with a hose?
And some soap?
Do you guys remember Donald Trump said that? Yeah, I mean, you just take a hose and you clean the coal.
What an idiot.
That's not what clean coal means! Oh, my God. James Knight says, great show, guys. Appreciate you, James. Everybody being here. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. The Monty Show, SLC Supercars at 2,500 subs. We're giving away a Traeger Ironwood 650. We'll figure out how to give this Xbox Series S away. Subscribe and then put a picture on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. Tag The Monty Show, SLC Supercars. You're entered to win the Traeger, and we'll figure out some way to give away this Xbox as well. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.